Yo, what's up? After weeks of grinding, people finally can unlock the German event APC. And unlike the British event APC, the German one is really good and useful and possibly a contender for being better than the normal APC you unlock in the technology tree. Reason for that is the significant cannon that it gets and also some good armor and other goodies. So how do you use it? Well, after getting it from the event, you go to your squads and there you see your premium medal or event medal squad. Keep in mind you can only use one APC at a time in your army. So if you already have one, you can't use it, so we have to take out the other one. And now let's take a look. This thing comes as all premium or event squads already completed, meaning you don't have to do any upgrades. Though you can change the specialization of the driver from additional backpack to additional weapon, which well, if you're swimming in node change orders, which are quite rare, can be useful if you're very absolutely sure you want to use the squad, but otherwise I wouldn't waste the order on it because it's yeah, very expensive. These orders are very rare. Alternatively, you can literally just take another driver from your normal drivers of the normal APC squad in here, and congratulations, you have your driver with the upgrades or unlocks you usually have. Also, keep in mind, this is a special event driver. This event driver gets +6 vitality, whereas the normal driver gets +4 and +2 distributed among mobility and shooting. So this is a completely different type of driver. Well, is it better than the other one? It depends, not really, it's just different. So yeah, well, now here's the kicker. Unlike the British APC, this one is BR3. The British one also comes as BR3, but the reason for that is the weapons equipped on it. This thing here, well, this APC has a Panzerfaust, that's BR3. Well, let's remove it. And it has a machine gun, that's BR3. Let's remove it too. And now we don't have any weaponry left, that's BR3. But you see, it still remains BR3 because the vehicle itself is BR3. So, yep, there's no way to play this in low BR. You can always just play BR3 as an army and hope you get downgraded to BR2. From my experience, there are so many new players right now in the game that the chance to get downgraded or downranked into games is very high. So you don't have to be afraid to play a low BR army, and only due to this APC you will constantly play against IS tanks and stuff like that. So yeah, that's quite fun, that's quite fair, by the way. Also from game balance perspectives, if that's your only BR3 item, it's very fair if you just get downranked into lower tier 2 armies or games. Alright, so what makes this thing so good? Well, before we take a look at the footage, first of all, it has a little bit of armor, meaning your soldiers are actually safe from normal gunfire. Unless you get heavy machine guns or HMG fire, you're literally safe. And since it has so little armor, most strong tank shells are gonna overpenetrate, meaning they're just gonna fly through it. And as long as they don't hit the engine or ammo racks or fuel tanks, you literally barely take any damage. Yeah. So yeah, this is obviously not too realistic, since in real life the kinetic energy would still shake you up and tear you apart, but in Enlisted it's not coded this way. So having very little armor against very strong tanks is actually beneficial if the tank shoots penetrating shells and not high explosive shells. Alright, so we have quite formidable armor. We have a machine gun, which is great, because this MG42 machine gun, by the way, meaning it shoots extremely fast. Well, first of all, you can't get it on low BR, so all of those who usually play low BR, you get basically a mid BR item, which is quite useful, also quite fun. The fire rate is just insane. And while you're driving around in this thing, your bots are going to use the machine gun by themselves. So you don't even need to use it yourselves. They're going to aim, and you can focus on using the cannon. And this cannon is absolutely insane. It has only a few shells, but 75mm with APC and with AP, so penetrating shells, and with high explosive shells is absolutely strong. This thing blows up all the infantry that you're gonna see, and keep in mind you can even look inside the APC, and you see, oh, here we have a bunch of shells. You want to make sure you don't get, well, well, if you're playing Americans or Soviets, now you know where to shoot. Literally here, one of the spots, and the other spots are in the front. And obviously the engine and fuel is also around the front and in the lower part. The backside is quite empty. Beside these upsides, you also get a bunch of downsides, and the biggest one of them is that you can't choose your specialists. Because, as you can see here in the blue node, there are no nodes for specialists, so you're stuck with these 4 specialists. Obviously, you will always have a driver, and I recommend to also always have an anti-tank gunner. But the other 2 specialists, well, it would be much better to have a radio man in your APC, because I never found myself in a situation where I did not want a radio man in my APC, especially if you plan on starting the game with the APC. Not being able to call an artillery strike is quite bad. Also, the radio man usually is quite for free in the APC, so you wouldn't take any other specialists above it anyway. But in other squads, you might take specialists above the radio man. For example, here in the anti-tank gunner squad, you rather have a second engineer than an engineer and a radio man. So the APC is quite perfect to have your radio man in your army. But here it's not possible. That's a significant problem. Also, the medic, well, if you're grinding, the medic is quite perfect. But if you're not, yeah, it's also not one of the best not of the best classes for an APC. I'd rather have a sniper or machine or an assaulter than the medic. But well, medics and assaulters are quite comparable, though they don't get a second weapon. Another problem is you have 2 crew members less than usual. This, though, isn't that much of a problem. It looks very bad, it's annoying, but realistically speaking, if you get a good shot of this cannon into your enemies, you're gonna kill 3 to 4 enemies on average. So you literally, if you're very fast with your APC after spawning, even at the beginning of the game, you very much know where the enemies are gonna be at the first objective. And then you just need to see a group of enemies, you shoot into them, and it's instantly on average -3, -4. And congratulations, now it doesn't matter that you have 2 crew members less. So I wouldn't really, it's annoying, but it's not, it doesn't have real downsides. It's very much balanced. Now, what about the British APC? Now, having witnessed all of the glory of the German APC, what does the British give us? Well, nothing. It gives us an ugly box that is small and easy to hide and also quite fast and can climb quite well. Very mobile. You don't really get stuck anywhere. But here's the big problem. It, first of all, it has less armor. Well, the low profile acts as kind of armor since you get hit less often, but still, it gets easier destroyed, and the weaponry is just horribly bad. The weaponry is extremely bad. You get a machine gun, the Bren, with much less ammunition, which also is much worse, and well, instead of a 75mm cannon that can shred half of the things in the game, you get a, well, boys rifle, an anti-tank rifle. Yes, it has basically 0 recoil since it's mounted, but it's still a slow-ass anti-tank rifle that, yep, that barely shreds any tanks. Yeah, it's already borderline unplayable on low BR, but on mid BR, you can forget it. There's no comparison. So yeah, this thing is absolutely not worth playing over the normal APC that Americans get. The normal American APC, well, that's another thing. First of all, it's a real truck. It looks good. It's much faster. It has all of the normal carry capacity, and you can get all of the specialists you want. So yeah, I wouldn't play the British one, but the German one, yes. The German one is absolutely worth it. German one really changes things, and keep in mind, if you have premium or if you bought additional slots, you can use multiple APCs. For example, here's a German, I have 2. So if you're completely free to play, as on my other account that I showed in the beginning, you can only have 1 APC. So how good is the German APC in real games? First of all, although it's quite heavy and quite big, you still can drive very nicely over hard surfaces. Like this underground, this terrain under us is really, Like tanks have issues driving over it. If you use a King Tiger, try to drive over this, you will really suffer. But this thing, surprisingly well. Yeah, surprisingly well maneuvers over it. Though the first problem comes with the shooting. You see, there's no stabilizer, as usual for German tanks. So you're constantly shaking. And since you don't have a turret, you have to move your whole tank, similar to most tank destroyers, if you want to aim at something. And this is after I already spent around 1 hour driving this thing, so I have some experience already. But you see, even if you have experience, it's very hard to aim with the cannon, very hard. And a tank would easily have hit those soldiers upstairs, but yeah, not with this thing. You're constantly shaking, and once again, even if you're crossing rough terrain that other units couldn't cross, yeah, shooting still will be a problem. And here you see how hard the aiming is. We have to literally do 90 degrees up and down and sideways movements to hit something. So yeah, that's the first thing. But the damage of the cannon, yeah, the damage speaks for itself, as Hans Niemann would say. And how's the British APC doing? Well, first of all, yes, it's very hard to aim with it, even harder than with the German one, since you barely get a proper aiming help. And you have this horrible view. Yeah, you can change the view, but if you want to... Well, here's the thing. The machine gun on it, you better let your bots use it, because aiming with the machine gun is even worse than aiming with the Boy's rifle. So you always have to have the Boy's rifle stuck out so you can hit something. And you see, the fire rate isn't the fastest, but it's okay. It's like slow semi-auto rate. And as long as you have something weak in front of you, you can actually get kills with it. Yeah, so, and here we have the machine gun. Yeah, you see, due to all of the shaking, it's very hard to aim with the machine gun. The depression is bad. So my recommendation for this thing is always have your Boy's rifle sights ready. So whenever you see a proper target, like a tank or engineer structures, heavy machine guns, stuff like that, so you can instantly shoot it. The seconds that you save from that are absolutely worth it. Also, you can snipe soldiers with it. Yes, because this is also a very good, very viable long-range rifle. And you see, just find some volunteering Japanese and you can snipe him. Yes, though, yeah, very slow though. Very slow though. But here's the thing. If the enemies are moving, it's actually very hard to hit them. But if they're not moving, since you have basically zero recoil, you can easily kill everyone with that. Alright, let me know what you think about these two APCs and what your experiences look like. I personally think the German one is a great addition to every enlisted player's arsenal, especially for new players who get quick and easy access to a strong squad and the only 3 APCs with weapons on them so far. And regarding the British APC, well, here's my opinion on that.
Are you just rushing at the APC? I'm place a tactical one. Also run them over. Get him,
Marks.
Get him. Get him, Para. Nice.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. That was beautiful.
Ah, shit.
And bro, double APC gaming. Achtung, Panzer, halt.
Oh, 2 APCs. Grenade launcher squad.
I got